Hello, humans, and welcome to another episode of Gen X Gamer. Today we're going to talk about the reason why Xbox had to, and I mean they had to, sell out to PlayStation. Xbox just had to do it. I'm going to tell you why, and then I'm rocking that old 70s look, that old Kurt Russell, 1970s. I think that's what I'm going to go for. My wife hates it and makes me cut off my hair all the time. Regardless, guys, listen. They had to do it. When was Xbox released? This latest Series S and X. What is it? November 2020. So it's 5+ years now, right? 5 years, 2 months, whatever it is. And you can only lose money for so long. The proposition at first was with these consoles, yes, we're going to lose money, but we're going to make it back on the back end. Phil Spencer, the failed era of Phil Spencer was, we're going to go back to the players, this and that and the other, but he didn't really fully do it, but because now Microsoft is entrenched in there, he couldn't fully develop his plan. He wanted to buy all these studios, which he did, to have more exclusive content. It took too long to do it, and even the content that you have is not the best of this generation. So even though you've had successes with Game Pass, bright spot here and there, we can't call it success. And once the bean counters from Xbox and from Microsoft went into Xbox, then it was all over, right? They said, look, you made all these investments, and you said that this was going to pay us all back, right? It was going to make the money back. It's still not doing it. We're 4 years in, and you're not making any money. We need to make money. We have to stop losing money. Remember, the number one rule of business is do not lose money. It's not even making money, don't lose it. And that's what the whole project has been from the very beginning. This after the Xbox 360, it's just lose. And you can only do it for so long. You have 4 years. If this was any other company, I already told you before, they would have been done already. So now you have the era where some of the exclusives, Halos, let's just remember some of these. Look, OST, Halo 4. I love looking at these prices. Look at this. A Halo 3, I paid $369 for it because I'm a Power member, of course. We have Halo Wars. That one's around the same price somewhere. This one's a little bit more expensive because it has the anniversary edition. Paid $719 or whatever. Oh, you see that name Bungie? We talked about Marathon today. That's why I want to make this video today. But you're seeing all these titles that are going to come to PlayStation. Right, in one form or another. This is already money that's been spent. They just need to put it on another platform. And you need to offset the costs. That's why, if you remember last year, what did they do? 2 price bumps, right? Tariffs. They really want to raise the price regardless because they want to stop losing money. At this point, they're losing less money. They lose like $50-$60 on the Series X, $30 on the Series S. It could be more in certain countries, depending on regulations, stuff like that. We won't get into it. But it's still losing money, but it's easier to make up, when people buy a game or two for their system. But you couldn't do it back then because you're losing more than $100. You're losing $100 on the on the Series S, and $150 on the Series X. So, you can't run a business that way. No business can exist that way. So the only solution the bean counters had is the only solution possible, which was to, move on to other platforms, start selling games everywhere. If you look at the number of titles that they've sold, I think it's like 8 million or something like that, just off the top of my head. Help offset the cost and losses for making the hardware. Right? So now you're not losing money. That's the reason why. They're not even thinking, hey, we're going to improve the brand so much, we're going to distribute it and people are going to sign in. That's not even the purpose of it. Not for this generation. No. And further generations forward, that's how they're going to subsidize. Right? And I've predicted this for a long time. If it's not Xbox, it's going to be another console, but you're going to have a console out there pretty much follow the model of the cell phone companies. You're making monthly payments. Okay, I'm going to buy the next Xbox. It's going to be $30, let's say $30-$40 for the service, for premium Xbox, Game Pass, whatever, and another $40 a payment towards a console. And you're going to do that over 3 years, or however long it takes to buy the $1,000 machine. That, at this point you should just buy a computer and just get the Game Pass. If you're going to be financing stuff, but that's really where it's going. So all these titles. Oh yes, look at that baby. Woo. Still, and guys, these babies are complete. Oh yeah, these babies are complete. Look at that. It helps offset the costs. $269. $269. Go if you don't have an Xbox, if you've never been an Xbox fan, go get an Xbox 360. You can get them for like $50. Get you a Gears of War. Get you some Halo. Man, 7th generation to me was one of the best generations, if not the best generation for content. That's why you see so much of the 7th generation behind me. But this is really the only way they can survive with the business plan, with the nightmare that Phil Spencer created for them, because they overreached. They really did. They paid way too much for these properties. The way they manage them, because of their culture, some people call it woke culture, whatever it is not really player friendly. Phil Spencer can say, well, it's all about the players and this and that and the other. But if you look at their hires, it's not that they're women, it's not that they're minorities, it's not any of this stuff. It's not that they're not real hardcore gamers. They're not Gears of War people. They're not Halo people, if you will. They're not Skyrim people. They come from other industries, from the telephone companies and marketing and all this other stuff that has nothing to do with video games. And to make good video games, to become a great functioning video game company, at the core you have to have people that love video games as an art medium, because of their legacy, that have been around for forever. But unfortunately, a lot of the programmers can't even work at these places anymore, because they work with a bunch of fragile people that can't be told, oh, you need to work another hour today. Oh, I can't do that. It's bad for my mental health. All these games were created by people under a lot of stress. And they got rewarded with that stress by high salaries, working overtime, getting bonuses, whatever it is. Whatever it took to make these great games. Go back to that. That's what you just can't buy it, right? You can't spend your way to success. You can hire talented people, but they have to be vetted. You have to know what you're going to be buying. And when it comes to hiring like that, it's really like having, like a sniper scope. Like, you really have to be selective. What Xbox has been doing, just using a machine gun and shooting everywhere to see what sticks. We'll buy everything. Let's see what of all this stuff sticks. And when you have something good like Hi-Fi Rush or something, Tango, oh, we don't want that. So the players love it. Nah, we're not going to do that. That's the culture of the company. So when you have that kind of culture, you're going to be cooked. And that's what's happening to Xbox. And there is no going back, guys. There is no going back to this. At its core, like I've told you before, Microsoft wants to be a software company, and hell be damned. They want their service everywhere. They want it on cell phones. They want it on the Switch 2. They want it on the PlayStation. They want it everywhere. That is Microsoft's goal. And you're never going to see what we have with the Xbox 360. If we ever do, it's going to come from somebody else, but not from Xbox. All right, humans, I will catch you on the next one. Let me know what you think. Do you miss the old Xbox? I sure do. I'm glad I have all these bad boys. Look at this. I love it. Let me know what you think. Catch you on the next one. Make sure you like and subscribe. Here you go. Join the channel for more. Take care.